Hello everybody, Virtual Rook here, and hi, how's it going? Welcome to Devlog 0 of ThistleDown, my new project that I've been working on all year on and off, and we're going to get into why this is Devlog 0. There's going to be a little bit about the negatives that have gone on this year, and then we're going to finish it off with a bunch of really positive stuff talking about the game and just my general development abilities now. So I started working on this project like the end of last year, and we've run into a couple of roadblocks that have made that very difficult. Part of it has been depression on my part, but we're going to not worry about that. We're going to talk about the technical issues that I've run into that have been giving me strife. The end of 2025, leading into 2026, I decided that I no longer supported the way that Windows was operating. I had been kind of falling out of Windows for a long time. That's Microsoft Windows, by the way, not literally falling out of, like, you know, the transparent Windows. Anyway, so I decided to switch to Linux, and it has been a journey, but a good one. I think that overall it has been a really satisfying experience, and I like taking back control of my operating system. I decided to switch to Bazzite, which is okay, I don't remember the term for it, but basically it's a lot harder to screw up Bazzite compared to other Linux distros because it kind of closes you off from being able to really screw up the system. So it's like Linux Lite. You're allowed to do stuff, but not everything. And for most things, it's been working great. It works great with Godot. It works awesome with all of my games, or at least the games that I've, tried with it, at least the 2D ones. We'll get to that. And yeah, I don't know. I can't sing the praises of Bazzite enough. It's really, really great. But it does have one problem that most of Linux does, which is that Steam Link on the Quest 3 to Steam VR does not really work well. I've heard that there's ways to work around it, but nearly every time they update, it would cause it to break. This made working on a VR project really, really difficult on Bazzite. Sometimes I would, spend several hours and get it up and running and work, and I'd be able to test my game, and it would jitter and stutter and look awful, but at least I could see the game. It just wasn't great. I certainly couldn't test it from the perspective of other people playing the game, because if it looked like this for them, then I should never publish it. If you're familiar with Linux and you play VR, then you're probably yelling at your screen right now being like, why didn't you just go to linuxonvr.org and check the specs of what you should be doing? And the answer was basically to use ALVR or Wyvern mixed together. More specifically, they said use Wyvern. Wyvern's a great open source app that has an app on the Quest store already, the Meta store, whatever. So you just boot it up on your computer, you boot it up in the headset, you add some launch code information to the different VR games you want to play, and it works fantastic. I was already at this point like a little down in the dumps. My depression was starting to get really bad, and I remember that I had opened up Wyvern and ran Walkabout Mini Golf, and it was doing this weird thing where like one eye was in a completely different field of view than the other eye, and it was like nauseating. I think I tried to also run a game in Godot, and it couldn't see that I even had a VR headset connected to my computer, and I was already just not in a great headspace, and I just dropped it. I completely fell out of wanting to work on this project at all. I was too stressed, I was too depressed. I was depresso and stresso, which I don't know what kind of a drink stresso is, but definitely depresso. But yeah, shameless plug, but that's where my other YouTube channel cropped up, where I have a new one that I made called Rook Crafts, where I just do fun physical projects that I like woodworking or knitting or crocheting or whatever. I was just so overwhelmed. I felt like I wasn't making any progress in my game development, and I needed some kind of hobby outside of game development that I could rest my mind and work on. So there's a couple of videos over there if you're interested in any of those topics. But back to the matter at hand. This lasted for a good chunk of the year, and every so often I would get back into game development and I do some stuff here and there. I actually made a Jeopardy clone for my husband for his birthday, which was really fun, where all the questions had to do with topics that he was really into, and we played it during a party and everybody was yelling and having a great time. It was awesome. But yeah, in the past like month and a half, I started to feel better. And I started to really want to get back into game development again. I wanted to get back into this project. So now we get into the happy stuff. And now we get into how things have gotten better and where the project is at. So during a week of feeling pretty good, pretty okay, I was like, I want to solve this. And I did what I should have done at the beginning, which is there's a wonderful Discord channel called Linux VR Adventures, where they update you on all the different open source apps that are in development, being created, updated, all of that stuff. They talk to each other and just are a genuinely nice community. And they were so willing to help and just get my stuff figured out. So what ended up happening was I had the flat pack of Wyvern installed. If you don't know what that means, don't worry too much about it. It's just, there's like a million different ways on Linux to install different software. And the easiest way are these things called flat packs that you usually get from some kind of store, kind of like the Microsoft store, I guess you could say. But on Bazite, it's the Bazaar or whatever. Yeah, Bazaar. On Bazite, it's called the Bazaar. It is a store that you can type in what you want and you install it if it has a flat pack version. And that's what I was using. Turns out that software on these Linux stores isn't as quick to update as it is if you just get it straight from the source and install it directly from the GitHub or wherever the developer is publishing. And so I was missing a bunch of updates. I was missing actual functionality. One very important one to me was if I'm in my headset and I'm using ALVR, which I still haven't even explained what ALVR is, but ALVR lets you actually see your desktop even if you're streaming from a headset to your computer, which SteamVR would never let me see my desktop whenever I was using Steam Link to Linux. And there's some encoding thing or something that's the reason why you can't do that. Anyway, by dual booting every day in Wyvern and ALVR, I'm able to see my desktop, and with the version of Wyvern that was straight from their GitHub instead of the Flatpak version, I was actually able to toggle the ability to have a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard that's attached to my headset, basically send that data to my computer so I could control my computer through VR. And that was important to me. But the most important thing is by installing this updated version from their GitHub, Wyvern, and making sure ALVR and everything was working correctly, I have not run into any issues running the Godot preview of my game since. It's been running phenomenally. And so has Walkabout Mini Golf, and so has every other game that I've tried except for except for Half-Life Alyx. And I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna question them as to why that's happening. There might be a good reason, maybe I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I'm just curious. But it works. It finally works, and I'm finally able to actually test my game. And before I get directly into what the game is, there's one more shining thing that I found while getting back into it that I feel bears mentioning. It's called Blender to Godot Pipeline. It's a $5 app from Superhive, the Blender store. And you can also sometimes find it on sale for $3. So it's really not too expensive. I don't know if it's still getting updated, but it works. And what it is magic, because you can gray box in Godot and you can, get everything set up and blah, 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 blah. But I'm a Blender boy at heart. I love Blender. And this app makes it that you can basically link a working Blender file to your Godot project. Whenever you move stuff or add things in Blender, you hit a button, it calculates for a second, and then whenever you go into Godot, it updates everything. And you can set up collision shapes on stuff. You can say if they're physics-based or if they're static. You can even make like custom collision boxes. So for instance, like I made a flight of stairs, and like traditional video game logic, I just made a ramp. So that way you just are going up a ramp. It makes it a lot easier and smoother. And all I did for that was model the stairs, tell them to not have collision in Blender, and then made a ramp also in Blender out of another box, or well, like rectangle, and set that to just be collision, so its mesh wouldn't even go to Blender. It would, not Blender, its mesh wouldn't even go to Godot. It would just send that collision box that I had custom made, and it works so good. It's amazing. It's like magic. I love that add-on, and I highly recommend it if you're cool with spending the very small, reasonable amount of money on it. But yeah, I just wanted to gush about it for a little bit, and now I want to actually get into my game, what I've been working on. So I don't want to give up the ghost too soon. We're going to be talking about it in these devlogs once we actually get into like devlog 1 and 2 and so on and so forth. But I want to give you at least a taste. I don't have a lot to show yet, but let's just talk about it. The working title of the game is ThistleDown. ThistleDown is a VR hidden object game, or HOG for short. I like calling it a HOG, but hidden object game. Growing up, one of my favorite genres of games was hidden object games. So there was a studio called Big Fish, I believe they still exist, and they made a series called Ravenhurst, Return to Ravenhurst, and they were these really creepy, moody detective games that were also really quirky and silly. Like, so you would have these dark and twisted storylines and these really moody 2D landscapes that you would click through, and you would have to like solve puzzles or like take, a pair of hedge trimmers to an overgrown hedge that reveals a door whenever you clip it away. But you would also have these moments in the game where you would have to like get a zoomed in view of, a kitchen table or something, and there would be, all these objects scattered across the table, and you'd have a list where you had to find the objects that were hidden on this table. This was all in 2D, but I love those games so much. They're just so much fun. I've decided that I want to try to bring the hidden object game genre not only into 3D, but into VR. That's the goal for ThistleDown, is that it is going to be a dark fantasy, like fae game where you have to solve puzzles, you're working your way through a greater story, and every so often you have to play I Spy. I'm really excited. I have gotten at least the movement into the game, some sounds, but it's still a work in progress. I will talk more about the story in the future, but I hope that you're excited. But yeah, that's all I have for right now. So there will be more in the future, but if you're interested in seeing concept work and story bites and just all around little secret tidbits about the game before it fully comes out, please consider joining my Patreon. It will be down in the description, and it is kind of new. You will also be able to watch a bunch of my videos ad-free by just joining up for, I think it's going to be like $3 a month if you're interested. And it obviously helps me out a bunch, and I will also put your name at the end of videos. So, all of the good stuff that YouTubers always do whenever they have a Patreon, I guess. Otherwise, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of ThistleDown. Are you excited for this project? And if you are excited and you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing to stay up to date with the game as I make more progress, which hopefully is going to be fast. So, I'm gonna try for like a video every like week or two. We'll see if I'm able to stick to that. Good luck. But yeah, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, everybody. It really means the world to me, and I hope that you're as excited as I am for this project. So yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.